Imagine you win the lottery tomorrow. Not a small prize, the big one, millions. Enough to never work again, never worry again, never check a price tag again. For a moment, just let yourself feel it. The call, the numbers matching, the disbelief. Now here is the part nobody tells you. Within 2 years, you will be almost exactly as happy as you are right now. Maybe less. That is not a guess. That is what the data shows. In 1978, psychologists Philip Brickman, Dan Coates, and Ronnie Janoff-Bullman published a study that quietly changed how scientists think about happiness forever. They tracked lottery winners, people who had won between $50,000 and $1 million, and compared them to 2 other groups: ordinary people who had won nothing, and people who had suffered severe accidents leaving them paralyzed. What they found was so counterintuitive, it took years for the wider world to take it seriously. The lottery winners were no happier than the control group, and the accident survivors, once the immediate shock had passed, were not nearly as miserable as anyone expected. Happiness, it turned out, was not a destination. It was a thermostat. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Your brain has a baseline level of well-being, a kind of emotional set point, and no matter what happens to you, good or bad, you drift back toward it. You get the promotion, you feel amazing for 3 weeks, then it becomes normal. You move into a bigger house, you love it for a month, then it is just where you live. The brain does not experience circumstances. It experiences change, and change, by definition, cannot last. So what happens to lottery winners specifically? The money arrives and everything feels electric. You buy the car, you move, you quit the job you hated, and for a while, it is everything you imagined. But the car becomes your car, the house becomes your house, the freedom becomes your Tuesday. And underneath all of it, something quieter starts to happen. The things that used to bring you small daily pleasure, a good meal with a friend, the satisfaction of finishing a task, the anticipation of a weekend, those things not because they changed, but because your brain recalibrated. It raised the floor. What used to feel like a treat now feels like nothing at all. Psychologists call this contrast effect. When everything is extraordinary, ordinary becomes invisible. You have probably felt a version of this already. Maybe not with real money, but think about the last time you used a money glitch in a video game, or bought a pile of in-game currency in GTA Online. Suddenly, you had everything, every car, every weapon, every property on the map, and for about 20 minutes, it felt incredible. Then something strange happened. You did not know what to do next. The missions that used to feel urgent now felt pointless. The grind that used to pull you forward had disappeared. There was nothing left to chase. So you closed the game. Not because it got harder, because it got too easy. Your brain did not want the cars. It wanted the wanting. And then there is the social dimension, which is where things get genuinely dark. Researcher H. Roy Kaplan spent years interviewing lottery winners in the 1980s and found a pattern nobody had predicted. Many winners described a profound and rapid unraveling of their closest relationships. Friends who used to feel like equals now felt like they wanted something. Family members appeared with requests, with needs, with quiet resentments that had apparently always been there, but now had a target. Some winners described the experience of not knowing whether anyone around them was real, whether anyone liked them for who they were, or for what they now represented. That kind of doubt, once it starts, is almost impossible to stop. So you end up with more money than you ever imagined, and less certainty about the people around you than you have ever felt. You cannot go back to your old life because it no longer fits. You cannot fully trust your new one. You are caught between 2 worlds and belong completely to neither. There is a concept in economics called the reference point, developed by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky as part of their work on prospect theory. It describes how humans do not evaluate outcomes in absolute terms. They evaluate them relative to where they started. A person earning $30,000 a year who gets a raise to $40,000 feels the gain intensely. A person earning $200,000 who drops to $150,000 feels the loss even more intensely, even though they are still earning far more than the first person. What matters is not the number. What matters is the direction of change from where you are standing. Winning the lottery does not move your reference point up once, it moves it up permanently. And everything that follows gets measured against that new normal. Suddenly, nothing is impressive. Nothing is exciting. This is the trap. Not poverty. Not failure. Enough. Having more than enough removes the engine that made ordinary life feel meaningful. The small wins, the earned pleasures, the slow building of something. These things require contrast to feel like anything at all, and the lottery erases contrast overnight. None of this means money does not matter. It does. The psychologist Matthew Killingsworth found that well-being does continue to rise with income, even at higher levels, as long as that income comes with a sense of control and purpose. The problem is not money itself. The problem is money that arrives without the journey, without the effort, without the story of how you got there. Because it turns out, you are not wired to enjoy having things. You are wired to enjoy getting them. The closing of a gap between where you are and where you want to be. Remove the gap, and you remove the feeling. That is exactly what happened in that GTA session. And it is exactly what happens to lottery winners in real life. The lottery does not break the brain. It just reveals how the brain was always working, measuring not what you have, but what changed. And once nothing changes anymore, the silence can be deafening.